Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel and to another stock market update. Now, in case you're not familiar, I like to take a majority of my money and put them into long-term investments, but I do like to take a small portion and trade the short-term moves, or at least try to trade the short-term moves. And I'm going to start off with this news article here from one of my favorite market timers. One day I hope to be as good as she is in timing the market in the short term, but it says that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi sells Visa and Apple calls and exercises some NVIDIA calls. So she took possession of some NVIDIA shares and she ended up selling Visa and Apple calls. So basically betting that they were going to go down, and she would get to keep the option premium. Now, I am a shareholder of Apple and NVIDIA. Actually, I'm probably a shareholder of all of these, and probably most of us are if we have any kind of mutual funds, or there are probably any number of ETFs. But most of us probably at least own a sliver of these. But I'm holding NVIDIA and Apple in my personal account, and actually been accumulating NVIDIA lately. So this actually made me feel pretty good that I am right alongside one of the best market timers that there is out there, right alongside her. So I will definitely take it. But scrolling down to the article, it says that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and her husband have sold millions of dollars of Visa and call options in Apple, and have exercised millions of dollars in call options in NVIDIA. So that is a pretty crazy bet, to be selling millions of dollars in call options, because if those go against you, you could lose multiples of your money, if I am reading this correctly. So man, you really got to know what you're doing to do stuff like that. So obviously she's a fantastic market timer. But it says these transactions occurred on June 17th and June 21st. The two largest transactions were in NVIDIA's, gosh darn it, that stupid thing, NVIDIA calls and selling a stake in Visa, both with a reported value between 1 million and 5 million. But it says Apple calls that were sold are worth between 100,000 and 250,000. So pretty big trades here for Nancy, and it just explains right here, when a person sells a call option, it's usually seen as a bearish bet. The person believes the price of the security will be flat or decline in value. And since most of the stocks usually tend to go up, especially great companies like these, you got to really know what you're doing to make bearish bets. You usually don't see amateurs making those kind of bets. So that just shows you how good Nancy is. But one of my favorite shows out there in picking the market is is done by Nancy Pelosi. I absolutely love this show.
Back with me, Nancy Pelosi, just in time for the lightning round.
That was easy.
There should probably be a law against Congress people trading stocks, but we just haven't gotten around to it. Okay, let's get batshit. Hank from Toledo, you're on.
Booyah, Nancy.
Booyah.
I read your husband bought Google just before the antitrust bill vote, and you guys made $5 million?
Mm-hmm.
So, was that like luck? Or...
Yes, it was a miracle. Thank you, George Floyd. Okay, Mark from Illinois.
Booyah, Nancy.
Booyah.
Hey, should I hold on to my Tesla position before the EV bill passes?
Sell.
That was easy.
A little birdie told me I'll be voting the other way.
Great tip.
You newbies at home, don't be discouraged. I lost a lot of money in the market, but things really turned around when I started making lures. When we come back, I'm gonna jingle all my jewelry in your face. You'll like it.
Man, that crap is funny. I never get tired of watching that. If you haven't seen that guy, his name is Kyle Dunnigan. He does faceovers of all kinds of people, and he's pretty funny. So make sure you check him out. If you found that funny, you'll probably find the rest of his stuff even funnier than that. But other news that came out today was JP Morgan Chase and Morgan Stanley reported earnings, and they came in a little bit light. That's probably why the market was down early on, even though the market got bought up a little bit towards the close, but we'll get into that in a minute. But JP Morgan's Chase CEO Jamie Dimon came out and said that he expects them to do quite well even in a recession, and I expect them to do well in a recession too. I actually have a position in JP Morgan in my long-term portfolio, and I used the weakness this morning to buy a sliver more. I didn't go crazy, but definitely wanted to add on that weakness. But you never know how much lower the stock might end up going, and if it does, I will continue to buy JP Morgan. They're probably arguably the best run bank in the world, and since the financial crisis, these companies have been regulated pretty much like utilities, so I don't see them getting into another balance sheet issue like they had back during the great financial crisis, but you never know. But going down and reading what he had to say, it says, he says, the bank is well prepared to handle a recession if that's in the cards, but for right now, both consumers and businesses are doing just fine. Consumers are in good shape. They're spending money. They have more income. Jobs are plentiful. They're spending 10% more than last year, but that's probably all going to inflation. So I don't know if that's necessarily a fantastic number, but it says almost 30% more than pre-COVID. So if you talk to businesses, they say they're in good shape and they're doing fine. So, but everybody kind of figures that the consumer is still doing fine. It remains to be seen, how much more damage is going to be done by these rate increases. So, but for the most part, consumers still hanging in there, and that is a good sign. All right, so let's get into the market charts now. I'm going to start off with the QQQ or the NASDAQ, like I always do, and try to see if we can determine where the market could be going in the short term by where all the buyers and sellers are living. As we can see, the NASDAQ reversed off this trend line again and actually went up to that 8-period exponential moving average and found resistance there again. I actually considered buying some SQQQ calls, which of course is the ultra short on the NASDAQ. So if the market goes down, you make money on those. But I wanted to see how the market ended the day. If it ended the day relatively bullish, I was going to buy some call options on the TQQQ, which of course is the levered NASDAQ to the upside. And if you haven't seen those before, this is the TQQQ. Basically mirrors the NASDAQ, but if I'm trading short term on the NASDAQ, I like to use those two instruments, the TQQQ and the SQQQ. I use this one if I think the market's going to roll over. I use the TQQQ if I think it is going to rally, but I never hold these things more than a day or two. And usually I'll just buy call options on these that expire in, a couple of days tops, just because I don't want to be in these things for too long. These are meant to be traded in the short term. But let's go back to the QQQ. I just think pressure is absolutely building up. Another bottoming tail, halfway decent volume today. So I think being that it's kind of stuck in the pressure cooker right here, if we do get a pop to the upside, it could be a nice one. So these options expire tomorrow. I only have one day. It is a high risk bet, but it's not a very big bet. But I do think that the path of least resistance is to the upside. We have more earnings coming out in the morning, and that doesn't make me very optimistic because it just seems like everybody is missing on their earnings lately. But, the fact that everybody is missing and everybody thinking it's probably going to go down means it's probably going to end up going up. But let's take a look at the SPDR or the S&P 500. You can see same exact thing. Broke that support area, but then reversed immediately. It's another reason why I think we could have some upside tomorrow. Nice reversal in the S&P 500 after breaking support. That is usually a pretty good reversal sign. Looking at the diamonds or the Dow Jones Industrial Average, same exact thing. Gap down below support, but an immediate reversal. So a lot of times, when an instrument or when the market gaps down below a support area and then immediately reverses, it's just kind of like kicking out the last of the weak hands there, so the market can actually turn around and go the other way. Hopefully that's how it works out this time. Looking at the IWM, same exact thing. Nice reversal. So we've had 5 red days in a row on the IWM. So we are definitely overdue for a reversal. I know that we're in this downtrend. It seems like red days can just go on forever, but odds favor after you have a bunch in a row. you are due for one to the other direction. But take a look at JP Morgan. This is one that I added to earlier. You can see they had actually a decent reversal. A lot of volume came in on the sell-off, but it didn't rally really all that hard, so added just a little bit at the open. Morgan Stanley also came out with their earnings, and they didn't sell off nearly as hard as JP Morgan, but Wells Fargo and I believe Citi come out with their earnings before the market opens tomorrow, so that makes me just a little bit worried. That's why I didn't take as big a bet on the TQQ as I probably normally would have. Because not super confident, but I think the charts are pointing that the next move could be up. Let's actually take a look at Citi. See how Citi's looking. See, same exact thing. These things all kind of move the same way, so have to see how those earnings come out. Probably should have been thinking to myself, WWND. I have that picture above my laptop. Whenever I'm thinking about making a short-term trade, I just look at the WWND, and that just stands for what would Nancy do. So I like to try to get into her head before I make these short-term trades, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But some of the ones that I talked about yesterday that I did not take a position in, one was Rocket Mortgage. It had a reversal, so I just kind of sat tight with Rocket. I'll just keep this one on my watch list. And the other one was DNA. This one looked a little bit better than Rocket. Had a nice little bottoming tail, and this is kind of what I wanted to see, is another day of consolidation going sideways. Then we might end up getting a push to the upside. So DNA is now my favorite of the two, but they're definitely both still on my watch list. Now, TTR was talking about INZY. I was looking at this chart for quite a while today. I don't know where. It almost looks like it's going to tip over in the short term, but man, a lot of good volume coming in to this one. We got this nice little false breakdown right here, then an immediate reversal back above all of those moving averages. So I don't know, this one is definitely going on my watch list. So thanks TTR for let me know about this one in the comment section. I think this one is possibly setting up for a nice breakout of the $5.30 area. So I really appreciate you sharing that with me. But I'm going to end the video right here. If you guys see anything interesting in the market, please let me know down there in the comment section. I really appreciate it when you guys do that. Well, I guess I'll just end it right there. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end. Until next time, remember, what would Nancy do?